Hey guys, and welcome back to another Unfiltered Gamer board game review. And today's game up on the tabletop is Tabletop Inc. by Cotswold Games. This is a 1 to 6 player board game, takes roughly about an hour to play, and is for ages 13 and up. In the game Tabletop Inc., you are playing as a board game publisher. Yes, that's right, and you're going to be making board games. You'll be hiring crew, you'll be utilizing that crew and the workers that you already have on hand to then go out and produce pieces or parts to the game. So that would be the mechanics of the game for design, the pieces itself, the different box cover, the back box bottom. You'll craft that game, publish it out, and then you'll go and set it out for an award. And you'll do that up until this timer here on this board runs to 0. When that happens, the game will end, and whoever has the most points, aka the best board games, will be the winner. We'll take a look at this Euro-style crafting game, talk about the setup, how to play, and of course, my review. The setup for the game is fairly simple. There's a lot of components, but let's get through it really quickly. Watch, the first main game board is placed out within the reach of all people on the tabletop. Then you're going to take this hourglass and place it on the number of meeples equal to the number of players. I'm playing 2 players, I place it on the 40, which has a 2 meeple. Take the 3 decks, the yellow, the blue, and the purple deck, shuffle them up, and then deal out 3, 3, and 4, respectively in the spots where you have the symbols of the top of the deck. Then you're going to go ahead and take a victory point marker. These are in your color, and it's going to be the color of the choice of the character you choose, and you'll place it on the 0 mark on the track here. There you go, that's the entire board all set up. As for you yourself, you're going to give yourself a tabletop based on that color. You're going to give yourself the main designer and place it on the WoW portion of that tabletop underneath, symbolizing that you have a character at the table. You're going to give yourself a randomized card here with a trophy on it. And you're going to give yourself a random card with a bow and arrow like spotted mark place. This thing here is going to basically give you a requirement in order for you to complete by the end of the game, or you will lose points. Give yourself the deck associated with your specific designer and publishing company, as well as all the meeples of that color. You should have 4 of them and a player reference board. For more note as to who you are, and so other people know as well, you can go ahead and give yourself a little stand and your card for your game studio. Mine is Asmodeus Games. Totally different than anything else you might have heard of before. The rest of the stuff is just set out within reach for all players. You're going to have your mechanics and your pieces or components in an area within reach. You're going to have your 2 different decks of basically upgrades to your characters and additional game benefits, and all your markers. Intuition, magnifying glasses, you'll have your dice there, your timer. All these are like components that you'll be utilizing or resources that you'll be utilizing to make your game. Go ahead and put them in a pool somewhere within reach. On the other side will be your actual games, your little game cover, your little game bottom here that you'll put together to craft your board game once you've finished it. There's also going to be different characters. These are additional workers that you can hire throughout the game, and you'll take their standee, place in front of you when you gain them, but just set them aside somewhere within reach. The last thing here is your little awards board here. This is going to have a little calyx for you, as well as each of the different awards. 3s, 2s, and 1s. Place the 3s in the top row, 2s in the bottom row, 2s in the second middle row, and then the bottom row is 1s. And these little award die, place them somewhere within reach or on top of this thing here. And then you're ready to go. That's the setup. Alright, playing Tabletop Inc. Now this is a Euro. It's a big, heavy game. If you want a detailed, descriptive video, it's probably not this one. I'm just going to go over each of the different spaces for where your workers can go and what they gain, what the point of the game is, how the game ends, and how your turn flows. So prepare, get ready, lock yourself in. First thing that happens on the game is you choose a player to go first, and that player is the player who won the last board game. On your turn, you're going to do one of 2 different things. You either play a worker out or bring your workers back. When you play a worker out, you'll place it on a location in one of these boxes here, and you'll gain the benefit and potentially have to pay a cost. If you're playing with less number of players, then the little boxes indicated with a number and a plus sign, typically this is 4 or more players, you will ignore those spaces. I'm playing a 2-player game. Every single space that has a highlighted blue, green, or red area will be ignored for me throughout this entire game. I'll take my worker and place it out. Let's go through each of the different locations. First one here is you can hire somebody who is going to basically be a worker for you with a benefit when you send that specific worker to a location of its required space. I would take my worker and place it in one of the two areas. There's the white area, which is always free, and the yellow areas on the board, which are always going to have a cost. You'll have a little exclamation point or a little meeple design here, and a cost. In this case, it would be 2 magnifying glasses if I wanted to place this worker here. I would just place it on the white space. That white space will give me an hourglass. I would just take it after I place this here. It is free, and I would do the action. This action is to choose one of these guys and take it, and then on a later turn be able to turn it in to my game board to take a worker to use the rest of the game. And each of these guys has unique benefits as well as bonuses when they go to specific locations as a worker. And additionally, if you want to purchase a worker that's farther in, it will actually cost you 1 extra on, place resource components on each of the ones that are above, in front of it. So closer to the deck is going to be more costly than the ones that are farther from the deck. And the one that's farthest is free. Same is said for the next space here, which is additionally characters that you will eventually place onto your game board here. These are your own unique spaces that you can place workers on. Only you can do it as long as they're attached to your table. They'll provide you with the benefit of being able to gain that specific thing, whether it be like victory points or a stronger benefit that is available here on the table. Over here in the middle left-hand side, you're going to be able to place your meeple down, and you're going to be able to place a worker onto your table. That's how you get them to activate, whether it be your space or whether it be your specific worker. When you place over here, you'll basically take one of those cards that you have previously taken from this space here and place it on your table. Whenever you place anywhere, anything, anywhere, you're going to go ahead and gain bonuses. So placing a dude on your table, you'll gain the benefit associated with the table. Placing your meeple down on a space will give you the benefit of where you place your meeple, as well as taking the action. The action adjacent to that is these cards here. You'll take these cards from the pink deck, you'll draw 4 of them, pick one. They're end of game bonuses. These guys are actually upgrades. You'll take this, you'll buy it, and you'll place it on one of your workers that's already on your table, and it'll give you a benefit, which we'll talk about later. But you can choose 4 of them and pick one and give yourself that benefit as long as your character doesn't have one already. The bottom green section over here is resources. This one over here is going to give you innovation, money, and time, up to 3 of any of the ones that you'd like to choose. The one down below it here is going to give you a chance to draw these cards here, which are the same ones you have that score you points or lose you points at the end of the game if you have these extra resources. This one over here is going to give you specifically the dice resources, and the one below it will give you the magnifying resources, and you'll get 2 of each of those. Up here is where you'll be building your game. This is the blue area. The top left-hand area of the blue area is going to allow you to spend either your magnifying glasses or dice to give yourself customized mechanics or components that you'll take from over here. It's these little gadgets and gadgets. Depending on how many you spend, it's how many you get here. Spend 2 of the dice, you'll get a 2 of the component. If you do 3, you'll get 3. And that is what you're going to use to build and craft your game. So once you've got your components and your design on your table here, then you'll actually also need to get boxes. Well, the bottom space is where you get boxes. You'll spend your innovation to gain a box, and your boxes range from 1 to 4. However many you spend is how high you get on your tier. So if I spend 1, I get a 1. If I spend 2, I get a 2. That's how I get the bottom of my box. To get the top of my box, it's in this space right here. It's in the middle space on the right-hand side. Basically, if you have your component and you have your mechanic token, as well as your bottom of your box, to publish, you simply place your character here, choose any top that you want, it doesn't really matter, and put it together. Now you have a complete game, which will score you points at the end of the game. If before you want to publish, you actually want to upgrade any of those components, like your mechanics or your design, you can do that by going to this space with a little up arrow. You can turn a cog 2 into a cog 3, or a horse 2 into a horse 3, or 4, it's really up to you. It's a way to upgrade without using resources you may not have. And if you do already have the game that's out in front of you, that would score you points at the end of the game, if you want to try and give it an award, you can do that by sending it off to the awards bracket. Your card here illustrates what awards your games can be worth as long as you meet the requirements. For instance, to gain a symbol 1 award, I can get 9 points at the end of the game, provided that my game is at least a 2 on the box, 2 for mechanics, and 1 for your components. If I have that in there, I can gain that specific award. And so I could then publish my game. After I publish it, I can use the award space to place it in this award bracket over here. And you can see there's only a number of each of them available. There's 1, 2, 3 1s, 1, 2, 3 2s, and 1, 2, 3 3s. And that's all this is building your game. Below that are going to be action cards that you can utilize, and you can pull them and basically play them to give you a benefit. This is upgrading a cog twice, gaining 2 money and 2 time. The meeples basically refer to getting a bonus action, but only from the game board here. There's a way you can exchange pieces that you have for other pieces, as long as you meet certain criteria. And then there's a space that's infinitely able for you to place workers on that will give you an innovation, money, or time, or specifically just a victory point. And so that's all you do. You'll take this meeple here, place it on one of those spaces. Typically it's going to be workers, gaining resources, building your game, or other. And once you've placed, gained your benefit, and taken your action, you're done. Next player will do the same. And you will rinse and repeat until you no longer have any workers left. And when you don't have any workers left, on your action, you're going to be able to pull your workers back. And when you pull your workers back, you're going to take this time token here and move it back the number of workers that you pulled back. I had 4 workers when I pulled back. I'll move this back 1, 2, 3, and 4. And as you move this back, there are little spaces that have little clouds that have symbols on them. You'll gain that bonus. Typically speaking, it will either be a free action of your choice from the game board or a component, whether it be like, or a resource, whether it be like a magnifying glass or a die. And if you pass multiple on your way through, maybe you pulled back 6 dudes and you pass through the magnifying glass and then another magnifying glass, you'll actually just take 2 magnifying glass resources. So the more you can pass, the more you can gain. And this is also how the game will end. I'll play my workers out, you'll play yours out. Eventually I'll pull back and move this timer back, and you will do the same, gaining the valuable resources on this track here. And eventually this is going to hit the end here, basically the 0. That's when the time ends. And in which case every other player will get 1 turn, not a round, a singular turn to do an action. Maybe it's to publish a game, or maybe it's in fact to award a game. It's really up to you. There's also a way you can gain bonus victory points if you can get lucky enough from this green deck, which is my suggestion. And that's it. That's how the game goes. At the end of the game, you're going to score points. If you have an unfinished game on your board and you can only ever have 1 game that's unfinished at a time before you have to place that game to publish it, and then of course you can choose to award it, you'll get half points. And your points are based on the number of points on all of the things that you have, like a 3 game box, a 2 component, and a 2 mechanics. That will score you half. So in this case, I would get 1, 2, 3 points. And I believe it's rounded down. If the game is fully done, it's published, but it's not on the board there, you get a point for every number associated with that thing. So if I had a 3, 3, 3, I'd get 9 points. And if it was on this board here, at the end of the game, you'll check this area here, and you'll see what your award is worth. Oh, I have a number 2 award. This is worth 11 points for me specifically. And so that can be worth more than the components that actually exist in your game. And most likely it will be, and that's why it's good to gain the awards if possible. You'll also gain victory points, or lose them, for having these cards here, provided that you actually meet the criteria. You'll be able to gain points throughout the game when you place your worker in certain spaces or pay a certain amount to place a worker on a yellow area that might give you points, in which case that will also count towards your total. And there's one additional mechanic that you can do in this game. This is the last thing you need to know about. I kind of separated it because basically when you pull your workers back, you have the option to bid on what other people are going to do. You can spend your magnifying glasses for each of these cards you want to use, and no matter how many players are playing the game, you can deduce how many actions they'll use before you pull your workers back. And you can say, I'll place 3 magnifying glasses out to spend, place these 3 cards specifically down, because I believe player number 2 is going to do these specific 3 actions. So there is a kind of guessing, predicting what your opponents will be doing. And you'll have the opportunity to do that every time you pull your workers back. But by the time you pull your workers back again, if they're not fulfilled, you gain nothing. If they do get fulfilled before you bring your workers back, you'll get victory points. And you can score up to 10 points or as little as 2 points based on how many people you chose to guess with and how many resources you had to choose to do your predictions. There you go. That's the game. That is how you play Tabletop Inc. Will you create the best board games and get the best awards? We'll find out if you want to check this game out. So Tabletop Inc. is a pretty interesting title when it comes to worker placement Euro-style games. This is a game where you can spend 2 actions, essentially, to gain a worker, and then place that worker card out onto your table, and then you have an extra worker for the rest of the game. And you can do that every round, especially if people are not fighting you for it, which most likely they will be. I feel like extra workers in worker placement games are typically very strong. But because this one isn't about you playing all your workers and pulling back, and I play all my workers and pull back before we start the next round, this is turn to turn. I play 1, you play 1, and if you have 1 worker and I have 10, how you would do it is you'd play 1, pull back, play 1, pull back. And me, I would play 1, play 1, play 1, play 1, and eventually I would pull back when I have none left. And that will increase this timer significantly with the more workers that you have. So it's not as strong to gain workers in this game, but it is still fairly strong. And so you'll have this definitely being a big point of contention when it comes to gaining more workers. It can allow you to gain these extra bonus turns in the game. This game is fairly simple too, while there are a lot of spaces on the game board. Essentially, you just need the specific resources to gain the specific pieces of the game you need to put together to publish the game and then to send it off for an award. Awarded games are worth more points, so obviously if you can award them points, you will do so. With more players comes a little bit more challenge in the spaces you're allowed to utilize. Specifically in 3 players as opposed to 2, there's a little more challenge, and in 6 players as opposed to 4 because of the amount of spaces provided for you. And so I like player counts for this specific type of game, and specifically this one here, to be in the high end of either the 3 or I want it 6, or 3, 5, and 6, because that provides a lot more differentiation on how you make choices in this game, what's available for you to choose. But essentially, yes, gain the resources, and then with those resources, build the game, and on the occasion you'll do unique other actions like exchanging your cards or buffing up your dude. And there's one thing I didn't even mention too, that in order to build your components and your box and all that, you'll have employees that have symbols on them. Like for instance, this one has 1 of each symbol in the game. And so right now, if I wanted to build any game at all, I would have to only be able to build a 1-1-1. 1 horse, 1 cog, and a 1 box. And in order to build a better game, I need more of these employees, so they're even more kind of needed in the game. And they will give you a benefit on their left-hand side. This one will give me an extra horse, extra game components upgrade, or some might be a design upgrade or a box upgrade. And so with more of these will come more availability for you to build better games, as well as, of course, these kind of talk bubble cards. It's basically the symbol references the upgrades that you'll need, that you can upgrade your character to give you a higher design benefit. These are very, very useful if you're not going for heavy workers in this game. And you are also limited by the number of workers you can have based on the table space, right? And so you can have an extra 5 workers because your main game designer is always going to be on this game board here. And so in order to build better games, you have to actually utilize your workers first to determine how high you want to go when it comes to games. But the longer you spend gathering workers and gathering resources is time not spent making games, which is essentially the most important thing about this game. Make the best game you can as quickly as possible and gain the best award you can to score more than your opponents. If I have 3 1 awards and you have a 3, I will win. Because essentially, I'm going to get better reward value from my trophies than you will for your 1 trophy, and it took you forever to do. So maximizing your strategy and minimizing your resources and locations that you'll need to go to and spend is going to be beneficial for you. And there's a lot of little, I don't know if I call it hoopla, but things that you can do in addition, like taking the bonus action cards, going for additional victory points, typically at the end of the game for resources that you'll have left over that won't give you any benefit, unless you happen to have these green cards that require you to have those resources to score you those points. It works well. It's fluid. I was nervous originally about the workers and how, if you have like 10 workers and I only have 6 or whatever, I'm going to lose. But because of the amount of time you have to play this game, you're going to eventually run out fairly quickly. And I think with just us having 4 workers and never getting another one, that's still for every round we both play, that's 8 deducted from 40, which means we have basically a 5-round game. And more workers from both of us means the rounds are even shorter, which means you get to make less board games, which means less points, or essentially less points, depending on your strategy. And there's quite a few strategies in this game. This is a pretty straightforward Euro. This is a Euro about making board games and constructing them, giving them awards. It feels good, it plays well, the thematic element is definitely there. I love the meeple aspect to the game, showing the little meeples working, your meeples at your table, and your company. Like, all the thematic elements are here for Tabletop Inc., and I love that about this game. I also love the components. I love the little magnifying glasses, the little like eureka bubbles. These are considered resources. The tiny little dice are resources. The little hourglass timers, which is like the time you've spent creating the mechanics or designing the materials or whatever. And the different workers that will give you benefits. Some of them are basically people who help you playtest the game, make the game, people that help you manufacture the game, and these are all associated with different locations on the game board that work and function pretty well. And so thematically, the game is great. Cute little elements, little things they didn't have to add, they added just to make the game feel even more like you're building board games. The great little Kalex. These are gamers designing a game about making board games, and it does a very good job of that. And it balances out fairly well. It feels a little unbalanced at first as you're trying to gather these workers and feeling there's certain spaces that are edgier than others, like give you a better edge, not necessarily edgier, but you'll start to notice how the game functions, and it's not about having 8 million workers. It's about having the best workers for the best positions that you'll be utilizing. And all workers are not created equal. Some of them are like drinking coffee on the job, and it's noticeable. And there's like cards that give you better opportunity to flip over predictors as opposed to 3 victory points on their own. I'd prefer that one, I guess. I don't know, maybe not. Some of them definitely feel better than others, especially the ones that give you like 5 resources as opposed to just the 3. They're like better action management. Some of them are like spaces you'll never want to go on, and you might be left with choosing that unless you dump more resources into the previous ones. The game doesn't specify how new workers come out, but my assumption is that when you buy one, they just all slide over. That's my best guess. Okay, so there you go. Those are my big positives about the game. I love these little games. This one's called Round Table. There's a game called Capitalism. There's a game called Event Horizon. Great movie. So I really love the little board game design. I love the idea of creating the games. All that's great. What I don't like about this game is actually the character design. The actual people in the game. I don't know. It just doesn't feel attached to the game. It feels like separate compared to all the meeples and stuff. And like these little character standees. I just kind of wish it was all meeple related. It didn't actually have real people whatsoever. The design, I wish it was a little less like pastel, shabby chic looking. I wish it was a little bit more modern. It kind of takes me away from the game seeing all the shabby colors. My wife loves these colors. I just don't really dig them. And the clashing of the art is just kind of weird. The design feels blocky and like, I don't know. If it's going to be like that, it's going to be all like that, I feel. And there's just portions of it that are like separate. Like, as you can tell, 2 artists kind of designed this. And I wish it was more cohesive. There are definitely spaces that I would take away, and there's spaces that I would like chunk together. Like these workers, I'd probably just put them all together and like select them, you know? Maybe there's just 6, or maybe it's just like the same space. Like, just feels like there's extra to be heavier. And I don't feel like it needs it. It's not really a huge negative or whatever. It's just my personal thing. I think people are going to have up in the air conclusions for their own. Like, you guys will each have your own conclusion for this. But overall, it's a fun game. This is a great little Euro game. I love the idea of making board games, and they nailed the thematic elements on the head. The components are great. It feels like that's what you're doing. And if you're in the hobby, in the modern gaming hobby, you will get this game. You'll get the idea of what they're trying to go for here, and it works. It very much so works as a Euro game, and because that's literally what building a board game is all about. Hiring workers, having the resources in order to gain the ability to design and create the illustrations and put it all together to make your wonderful game called Beak Size, which has a high amount of component quality, great mechanics, and a high award, right? Yeah, Tabletop Inc. This is a cool title. If you're looking for a Euro game that involves making board games, it's on the more medium side of things, this is what I would strongly suggest you to take a look at. This is right down the middle for me, an enjoyable game. I would play it again. Thank you guys for watching another Unfiltered Gamer board game review for Tabletop Inc. If you'd like to check the game out, there's a link down below in the description. I believe it's on Kickstarter or will be on Kickstarter. You can go ahead and check for yourself. And make yourself a board game or board games. win some awards. My buddy Brian, actually, one who works with us as well, does the Instagram and all that. He's a big Euro player. He said nothing but positive things about this game, and he's a bigger Euro player than I am. So for those of you who are Euro players specifically, that might sway you in one way or another, I don't know. You can also hit that subscribe button. It's a red button just down below this video somewhere, and if you do, I've heard that it gives you 5 years of good luck. I just give it a try just for the hell of it though. We have a live stream on Sundays at 7:30 p.m. PST where you can actually go ahead and watch us play games just like this one. In fact, this week we're playing the game Grendel by Off the Page Games, where it's kind of like an area control, unique game of different factions that function in different ways. It kind of functions like Root does. And you can watch us play that one there. I love Off the Page Games. I think they do some really unique style games. They're very different mechanically than other games you've seen. And if you're so inclined, you can see us play games. It's the best way to learn to determine if it's a game that you'd like to play. All right, guys, that's all I got for you this time. And as always, I look forward to crafting some tabletop games with you guys in Tabletop Inc. next time.